Are you feeling disconcerted this morning? Uncertain about the future? Well, I want to encourage you today. As I film this Devo, the election results are still uncertain. Not sure what will have happened by the time you watch this on Wednesday morning. So in times of uncertainty, where do we go? Well, we've been studying the life of Simon Peter, and when he's an older man, he writes to Christians who are living in a time of political and social chaos. He wants to encourage them. And his letter that he wrote to them is in our Bibles as 1 Peter. And there's a principle there in the very first verse that will encourage you so much in any time of unrest and uncertainty. It's really just one idea, one word, in fact. And here it is, chosen. Now, this is not about the nation. This is not about the country, the world. This is a word for you and your relationship with God. You know, the very first Christians were people without a country. They were exiles, scattered. The Jewish Christians have been rejected by their country, the Roman Christians as well. You know, people can talk metaphorically these days about how it feels like the world is falling apart. Their world really was falling apart. The Roman army was gathering in mass against Jerusalem. There was civil war in Rome. Christians were being persecuted on all sides. That was all going on when this letter was being written. So what does the Apostle Peter emphasize for them? Look at the very first lines he writes. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 1. He says, Peter, an apostle of Jesus Christ, to God's elect, exiles, scattered throughout the provinces, who have been chosen. To the elect, scattered throughout the world, who have been chosen. Peter says, you may feel uncertain and you're homeless refugees right now, in fact, but you're still chosen. You have not been forgotten. You are precious. You are loved. You are engulfed in the gracious, elective love of God. God will never let you go. No matter what happens in the country, in the world, no matter what happens in my life, I am chosen and I am loved. And then finally in verse 2, Peter says, here's what comes of believing that: grace and peace. My guess is some of you are so anxious this morning, you're just barely hanging on by a thread. Shh. God chose you by his grace. And today he wants you to know, no matter what happens, he will always love you. No matter what happens this year, God will always love you. Nothing can stop him from loving you. He picked you, he chose you by his grace, and that brings peace. Of that, you can be certain as you continue to follow through all today's uncertainty.